Hey, what's good? You're talking to a girl from the hood. Yeah, I got a little bit of sense, and I'm looking for a man that can be my fresh prince. I've been working hard trying to see just who I am. Trying to use my voice, learning how to take a stand. Understanding what's important, who needs help, who needs me. Giving meaning to my people and awareness to the streets. I empower, I encourage, I educate, it's a need. I'ma put y'all up on game. All you gotta do is take heed. Entertain you for an hour, you laugh and you might cry. I'ma always be transparent and I'll never tell a lie. So come along and join me. I have things to discuss. You're following your girl who found her purpose. You're following your girl who found her purpose. Hey, hey. You're following your girl who found her purpose. Hey, you guys. How are you doing? Good evening. I hope y'all like my new intro. If you guys have any tips, you could always give it to me. You know, I'm just starting out, so it can only get better. I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight and coming back for my second episode. It is going to be amazing. I have an amazing guest. His story is awesome. I think it's going to be very insightful, and a lot of people will be able to get something from it. So, as you guys know, it's Hood Raised, Real, Raw, and Uncut. This gentleman, man, has been through the storm, but where he is now is such a beautiful place. And the way he describes it, and he describes it in such a beautiful way, man, it really touched me. So I felt like I wanted to have him on the show. I wanted him to share his experience with you guys, and I wanted you guys to have something you could relate to. So without further ado, I want to bring on my special guest, Christopher, or Chris. How you
Hey,
doing?
hey, hey, hey. Right here.
Hey, I want to thank you for being the second guest on my show, because you know I'm just starting. So I really, really appreciate when people support me so we can give back to the community and really let them know that they're not alone in the things that they're dealing with. You know, I know a lot of the time we think that because you know we're going through things with our children, or we're going through things with our families, or just with everyday life, that nobody else is experiencing that, and that's not true. So that was one of the main reasons I wanted to have this show, is because I wanted to make sure that I highlighted the people in the community that are pushing forward, that other people may not see, you know, and consider the little people, but really we're the big people, and we're really making a difference, and we're really making moves. So I know that I allow my guests to pick their own titles. So I wanted you to pick your title, and you picked Hood Raised, Real, Raw, and Uncut. So why did you pick that title?
First of all, I want to say that was a badass song. You better copyright it before they steal it. You know what I mean?
Period. You know I got many talents. So like,
Nah, so the reason why I picked Hood Raised was because I'm from East LA, born and raised. Um, and a big part of growing up in our city is considered hood, right? But at the end of the day, it's family to us. And hood is not necessarily a negative word anymore. I try not to use it as a negative word. I try to do it as positive now. More of, you know what I mean? Like, we all grew up in a struggle. We all have
yes.
a struggle somehow. You know what I mean? Whether you're rich or poor or whatever, people have their own struggles. You know. But hood to me means more of a family thing. You know, and I've always been real deep into that. So hood raised means like just family raised in a sense. You know.
Okay, I like that. And it makes sense because the hood, when you grow up in the hood, that's where you're comfortable at.
Yeah,
And you're
exactly.
comfortable with your family.
I could go anywhere else. I go to like Lake Elsinore because I have my homeboys out there. Man, it's cool and all because I don't have to watch my back as much, but it's a
Yeah.
different kind of vibe, you know. But you come out here, even though you have to look around and shit, I still feel at home. When I got out, I drove by and I was like, man, I'm home. Like home, this is home, you know. It gives you that little adrenaline rush.
Yes, yes. So how long, because you said when you came home, how long did you do?
So I did 7 and some change, almost 8 years. Um,
Okay.
and my little brother, he did about 10, almost 10. That was my crime. He was supposed to come home early, and he ended up getting some more time. So that was one of the main reasons. Shout out to Chris if he's out there. He
Yes,
just
Chris and
baby.
Chris. Look,
Congratulations. Yeah, he got his little baby. But we went through the struggle, man. We went through some shit, and he's a writer. And when I got out, I actually had a breakdown, because I remember it was like the first day or 2 days after it. I came home and I don't cry much, you know what I mean? I don't talk. I tried not to before, and it broke me because I was the reason why he got busted. Or I felt like I was the reason why he got busted because at the end of the day, he didn't want to go out that night, and I ended up going to the house. I'm like, get up, fool, come on, let's go. You know, like what if something happens?
mm,
You know? And he's like, fuck, come on. So we both got up and we went on, and we still went on, and we did our thing. We ended up, you know what I mean, together
yeah,
the whole day, and I seen him after he got home, and it's a blessing now that we're together and he's doing amazing and we both are now, you know.
yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is you carried that guilt
I did.
with you that entire time where you were locked up.
Yeah, I did. I always try to take care of him. I was always checking on him, making sure he was good everywhere he went, calling whoever you know what I mean, just making sure he was cool and comfortable, you know what I mean. That was my main focus.
Right. And that goes back to what you said in the beginning, family,
Yeah, yeah.
and that being extremely important to you.
And we'd had a conversations too after we got out. We had a conversation with a couple of my homeboys too. We were sitting down and we talked to him. We were telling him the same shit. Like, man, like you fools won't ever know in a sense of like how what loyalty is in a sense, right? Like, because
Right.
we got busted together. That was my crime, and we did time together, and we always looked out for each other, no matter wherever we landed. We always took care. We called, make sure we're okay the whole way. And now it's the same thing. And people nowadays have different ways of thinking in sense of like your ride or die, right? Like nowadays
Right.
it's just watered down, you know, and back then the ride or die is ride or die, literally ride or die.
Yeah.
You know, we've been in sticky situations where we've been hemmed up and got and did the dirt and do a bunch of weird shit. But at the end of the day, we stood together. One man falls, we all fall together. You know what I mean?
Right. Let's see, you have a question. Maisha said, how did his bro feel about it? So how did your brother feel about the situation? I guess you guys going out and him being caught and then having to do time.
Never once has he ever put it on me. You know what I mean? He's always been the type like, hey, I chose my own path. You know what I mean? Like we basically rode together. You know,
Yeah.
and to this day it's the same shit. Like I tell him the same thing. Like, homie, if we try to be super positive, super mellow, but you always get these little youngsters that always try to test the waters, and it's like, man, like I'll try. I'm like, hey, come on, man, I'm just here to chill. You can have my beer, relax. But yeah, like to this day, it's the same thing. He's never ever put it in my face, but I howled it. I howled it in myself, you know, because that was just me, you know. But he never once told me anything, and we've always been like that's my roadie, you know what I mean? No matter what, it's my road dog.
Yeah, Nina said she loves you. She said love from Texas. And we are our biggest critics. So you said something that was extremely important. Your brother didn't hold it against you. You know what I'm saying? He was okay. He was cool with it because he was like, I made the decision. This is us. This is what we're doing right now. So it is what it is. But you were hard on yourself.
Yeah, I've always been hard on myself though. Growing up, my family, everyone knows how I grew up. I grew up in a real fucked up situation, in a sense. A lot of people say it's fucked up, but I think it's fucked up. But at the same time, I learned a lot, right? So if I didn't go through the things that I went through as a child, I wouldn't be the person I am today. You know, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to communicate with certain people or just be very humble at the same time, you know. And I do have my little spurts that I kind of like wig out here and there, but for the most part, I'm very humble. I'm very respectful, and I try to help who I can, how I can. I think that's the reason why I do what I do now, you know.
Right.
But I've been through foster care. I've been through the ringer, and luckily I had my family, my tia and stuff like that to raise me. And I was blessed, you know. I was blessed in many ways, and I know when I got busted too, my tia, she made me cry because she told me. She was on the phone and we were in the county at that time and they were trying to give me life. They're trying to give us life at that time. And
Mm.
my tia was like, what did I do? What did I do wrong as a parent? You know, and it broke me because at the end of the day, it was never her, you know, it was my decision. And I had to
Yes.
explain that to her. And she felt like she failed as a parent and she didn't. She did the best she can for someone else's child. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
And see,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
okay. Nothing. I was just gonna say that's huge.
It
That
is.
that sentence right there is huge because a lot of people are raising children or youth, young adults that are making bad decisions, and they feel like it's their fault. And you can't take that on because once again they're making their own decisions. And so just for you to make that statement is huge, first of all. But also, when did you come to that realization? Because as a child, I'm sure you weren't thinking like that.
Yo, as a child, I was a handful. My family will tell you I was a handful. I was just ADHD running back and forth, getting shit, not giving a fuck. But I had a real great family. My family around me was amazing. They always try to support me. We didn't have that many males. Our females were really huge in our life growing up. Like my tia Pancha, my tia Lorena, my tia
Little
Lisa.
shout outs.
Yeah, my tia Chia was my you know what I mean. She was like my mom. So it was a big, like, I didn't really have males other than my brother and my cousins and stuff like that, my males, but they were always trying to bully me and beat me up. And I get it, like I was a little runt, you know what I mean? So they were always like, hey, we too much, get out of here. And I had a conversation with my brother too when I got home, and he told me the same thing. He goes, man, I'm sorry for always pushing you away, making you feel like that, beating you up, and just because I was a little kid, I used to cry when my brother used to fight, and I used to always want to fight. You know what I mean? Like he'd be getting beat up or beating people up, and I'll be right there like a little crying and shit, but trying to fight at the same time. Like, leave my brother alone. But then in the end, he'll be all mad at me, like, "What are you doing?" So it was a lot. But yeah, I had a lot of females in my life growing up, and my family was real big, but my mom wasn't there for me. She never really took care of me.
Right.
She always chose men over her children, which I don't really, to this day, I got over it. I'm over it. I do it because of my kids. My kids, she loves my grandkids, or her grandkids, actually, my kids.
Right.
And I love to see that, because at the end of the day, I never got it, but I love to see that she's still capable to do it for my children, and they
Yes.
love it. They trip out on her because my mom's something else, she's a character, but yeah.
Marvinette said, my Nino. And then she also said, I know your brother loves you. He stayed on me about you.
Yeah, I know he did. He stayed. Well, see, it took a lot too for him growing up, because I remember when I got home, like I was saying, I got home and we had a conversation, and he just told me, like, man, I'm sorry. Man, I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for, and it took a lot because we weren't raised like that, so we don't know how to communicate in that sense, and
Yes.
and he learned how to do that. And my brother, to this day, and he'll get mad at me after this, but he tries to be all whitewashed, man. Like he tries to be all like preppy. And he gets a couple of shots in him. He's like, "What's up, fool?" This and that. I'm like, oh, here we go. But
See, because that's the way it is. We always talk about putting on different masks
yeah.
or being able to code switch. That's a part of it. We go to work every day and we have to put on this persona, and sometimes we have to talk proper depending on what environment we're in. But like you said, we get a little bit of drink or we're in a comfortable state where we can drop our inhibitions. Then we back to, because I'm using slang and cussing and everything else when when I'm comfortable. But when I have to be, professional, I know how to do that as well. I want to go back to something that you said, because you let me read a paper that you wrote. I think I
My
was one
English
of the
101.
individuals that was able to be blessed with that privilege. And you talked about your mother and your relationship with her, your relationship with your brother, your relationship with your children. And I know you touched on that a little bit. You kind of glazed over that a few minutes ago. But I want you to talk about that a little bit, because you said, you had a great family, but then you said your childhood was kind of fucked up. Then you said, this was going on with your brother, but he loves you.
Yeah.
So how did you come to these realizations, or what happened?
So in my household, which is my brother, my little sister that I love, and I've always been there to take care of her. My little sister, my mom, and it was us three, right? And then my family outside, because we had two properties right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So the one we lived in, my mom, um, it was chaotic every day, right? So it was hectic, and everyone around us would always try to look out for us for the most part. But I was telling you, I was always in the streets, and I just didn't care, and all of us felt like that too, because we had no male role models, all of us. But at the end of the day, the females tried their hardest to take care of us, and it was hard for them because we were off the hook.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so then we ended with foster care. Then I ended up going back to my tias. I had my kids at 8. I had my daughter Michaela at 18. That changed my life, because from then before that I was out there running amok and doing dumb shit, just running the streets. And then I had my daughter, and then it was a trip because my daughter, I think saved my life a lot because she made me stop doing a lot of the shit I was doing, right? She started like mimicking me and doing everything I do. I was like, oh fuck, I gotta stop, because
Yeah.
you started doing it, I was like, oh no, she can't do that. So then I stopped, and then I was still running amok, and then I ended up I had my son Isaiah. I left him when he was about a year and a half, and then I got home and he was already 8 and some change. So yeah, and then my daughter was already like, she was already like I think 12, almost 13 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
So it was big. Sorry, I went off subject. I know I did because my daughter fucks me up in my head.
Yeah, and I can tell you got a little emotional. So I was gonna try to step in, but I didn't want you to stop talking. But I seen that, I know your relationship with your daughter or your children is extremely important.
Yeah,
And that was another thing that you wanted to highlight because, with you saying that your relationship with your mom, it wasn't great, but it's good now because that she wasn't able to do what she
oh
needed
yeah.
at that
So
time.
to piggyback off that, yeah. So my mom was now I'm better, but just because I know her now, and I'm like everyone has their flaws. Everyone feels like they're. My mom was raised. She was babied as a child, so she doesn't like. So she really didn't understand how to raise children, and it was difficult for her. But now that I'm older and I understand that, I get it, and I never bash her for it. I'm just like, okay, it's you. That's you. That's who you are.
Right.
Now I know what I should not have my kids go through, right? And it might sound weird, but I'm grateful for that because now my kids will never have to go through that, nor anyone that I'm around
Right.
will ever
Yeah.
have to see that or I have to be through that because I'll stop it in its tracks,
Yeah.
Uh, and
And that
then,
doesn't sound weird at all. It
but a lot
doesn't
of people
sound
just
weird.
they're like, "How's that okay?" I'm like, "It's okay." Like in me, it's okay because I took the butt out of it, right? Like
Yeah.
but I could take it. That's why I tell people I could take shit. You know what I mean? For every action,
Right.
there's a reaction, and I get it. I get why people do what they do sometimes, and it's just who's the better person in the end of the day. You know what I mean? And me
Yes.
being just who I am, I guess, and being just past, like just I'm gonna keep pushing. You know what I mean? No matter what.
Well, it's all about breaking generational curses. So we know that, whether it be in the brown or the black community, it's all about breaking those curses. And once again, what you said was extremely important. And what Eli said, he said it takes a village sometimes. Hood raised for show. And that's real. Sometimes it takes a village because our parents probably didn't know. Maybe
Yeah.
they didn't have the tools that they needed at that time to be able to raise us, which in turn caused us to not to have those tools. But the fact that we're striving to have more and learn more and do better, that's all that we can do.
To accept, I think to accept trauma too, right? Just to understand it and just be like, it's okay, it's over, like, you know what I mean? And I think that's what a lot of people hinder shit. And I think
Yes.
that's where they go bad, and then they start using dope and they want to go fuck around because they want to get their mind right.
Yes.
And it's not a permanent right, it's just a moment right, and then it gets even worse after that.
Yes. Marvinette said all about breaking the curses. We don't want our kids to make the mistakes we did. Exactly.
Exactly.
But the thing that we also know, because we've been children, is that sometimes they have to make their own mistakes. People told us stuff when we were young and we was like, no, we gonna keep doing it. Or we didn't say nothing. We just ignored them and kept doing what we was gonna do and bumped our heads. And
Yeah.
once again, that's why we on this show talking about what we talking about and have these life experiences because we didn't listen. But like you said, and like I always tell you, that makes us a force to be reckoned with because we have something to compare it to.
Hmm.
We're not just now learning at this age. We've learned, even though it hurt us, and even though our children may not listen to us, we can still put that bug in their ear. And
Yeah.
hopefully they listen to something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you doing now to give back to the community and, make sure that you practice what you preach or you break those curses?
Nothing, just drinking beer on the porch, chilling. Yeah. But so trip out, right? So I got home 2019, and when I got out, my PO they came to my house the second day I got out, and they were trying to fuck with me, talking about that I shot someone, right? They were just being assholes. I know they were trying to trigger me, and then I had to go the day I got out. The next day I had to go in to go see my PO, and my PO was basically telling me like, you ain't gonna do shit. Just get a warehouse job. You can't be around people because you're a violent person. Just the most, right? Being super negative. And these motherfuckers are the ones supposed to be helping us, So
Right.
anywho, I was like, man, fuck you, whatever. So then I got out and I just started working. I started doing like stupid jobs, like little odd jobs that weren't paying nothing, basically paying me fucking $14 an hour at that time. And I'm like, how do you expect me to survive off $14 an hour, to be able to pay rent? Not only that, but I want to be able to take my kids out and enjoy my freedom now, right? Because before they were kids, I didn't really get it. We enjoyed it, but it wasn't like now they could walk, they could wipe their own ass, they could, they do all this shit on their own now. So I could enjoy and take them places and not worry about diapers and all this extra shit.
Right.
So that was a trip at first when I got home to deal with my children again, right? Because my daughter, for one, my son was all excited. He's like, "Oh, when are we gonna play games? When are we gonna do this? When are we do that?" I'm like, "All right, cool." But my daughter, she was standoffish, and she was my best friend. She's always been my best. She's like
and
my
how old was she at the time?
When I got home,
yeah,
she was 11, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, like almost 12. And it was a different relationship over the phone than to coming home to them, right? Because over the phone, it was just like you get 30 minutes, whatever. Me personally, I was very lucky, and I always had a phone everywhere I went, so I always been able to talk to them, call them. Made it super difficult was her mom. She made it super difficult because of whatever situation she was going through with her relationships. So it made it super difficult for me. So a lot of the times I wouldn't be able to call. Phone was always off. Kids were asleep supposedly. And when I got home, I had this conversation with my children, and I asked them like, what's up? Like, I hope you guys know that I always tried. Like that was I always sent you guys letters, birthday cards. I always had money, and I always send them money too when the birthday and stuff like that, and just to give them money, to buy them stuff because I'm still their father,
Yeah.
And their mom would always tell me like, "You're not their dad. I hope you die in there." Whoop-de-woo. Like she was very hurt, and I get why she was hurt because I left, right? But you shouldn't treat someone like that, right? But again, to each their own. But
you know me. I'm always about looking at it from a 365 degree angle, and we know she didn't have, the tools that she probably needed to be able to deal with this at that time.
To this day, I tell my
kids, I'm sure, were upset at her. She was upset at you. Everybody was upset, but now you guys are different people.
Yeah. Now we're cool. Like we're cordial. We try as hard. I try at least as hard as I can to be able to raise these children.
Right.
Because that's my main goal, right?
You're doing amazing. You are an amazing father. I always tell you that you do amazing. Your kids love you. You are so engaged with them. And I know that, once again, like you said, it's just something that you're changing those generational curses.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. The things that you maybe didn't get, or that father figure that wasn't in your life, you're making sure you're there. And that's extremely important. Hood Baby said you're doing good.
Thank you.
Yes, doing great. Marvy said yes, you are. We're extremely proud of you. I mean, there are a lot of great men, in the community. Don't get me wrong. Especially, there are a lot of great men coming home from prison.
Exactly.
That don't get acknowledged. So let me say that.
And I think that's key right there, is that people feel like they want to break them down in a sense of like, oh, you're not capable of doing that, and babying them, like they're grown ass men. They know what they're doing, and they're going to do it because they just, most of the time, all it is a support system. If they have a good ass support system, like what we do, right? I do that for a living. You do, like, this is what we're here for. We're here to help and change and motivate people and get them forward, because man, we've been drugged through the dirt so many times and so long. A lot of people doing 20, 30, 40 years, getting out the chute, barely coming home, and it sucks. A lot of people feel like they're entitled to their time when it's not like that, man. You gotta let them do their own walk. Let them enjoy their time, boundaries and time.
Yes, Hood Baby said you raised us right. And then Johnny 4700 said, "I love you, Chris."
See, that's another. So I have a couple of homies that I'm really close with, and they support me, and they push me forward as much as I push them, and they trip out, and that we always just, I'm telling you, like, you just have to have an amazing support system. And I do, and everyone knows, like, I'm not going to give you my time if you're not going to do something positive with it, so.
Right.
I'm more of like, let's get it. If you're gonna get it with me, let's get it. And I have a
Right.
really strong support system with my homeboys and my family and my kids, and everyone just put. And then you guys, especially you guys, Marvy, and man, like I tell everyone, I tell everybody I know about Marvy, and I tell 'em, man, if it wasn't for that lady giving me a chance, I wouldn't be
Yes.
here right now. And it takes a real person and a person that's been through the shits and grew up in the barrio in the hood to
Yeah.
understand
For
what it
real.
really is and how hard it is. And all we need is that one shot. You know what I mean? Give us that one shot, we're gonna shine.
Yeah. And I think it's important that people hear this because in the community, a lot of people say, like, when you go to get help from different programs, or, if you go get mental health services, any type of services, youth services, family services, they always ask you that question: are you still associating with people in the community or that are criminal minded? And they feel that you need to
Distance yourself.
disassociate yourself with those individuals, and that's not always true. And that's something that I think is extremely important, and we need to make sure that we highlight that tonight. And because you can still interact with individuals in your hood
Yeah.
as long as you're already at a certain place and you're at a place where you're transitioning.
Yeah, and
Because
it
go
goes
ahead.
back to too. Sorry, it goes back to like you could change them too. You know what I mean? They're in the
Yes,
same path as you are, man. I'm
right,
keeping my homeboys, and I be telling them like, I mean, there's situations where like I pick them up and they got some on them, and I'm like, damn, for my parole. And then they feel bad, and then after that, they're just kind of like, damn, all right, cool. Like I can't be, you know what I mean, running with the homie like that because it fucks his off. You know what I mean?
right.
So it changes people's narrative and thoughts and a bunch of shit. And that's what we need. We need motherfuckers that been through this shit to come out and go back into our barrios, into the neighborhoods and talk to them and tell them like I'm not trying to change you, homeboy, but I'm gonna try to let you know what it is. That's it. You know what I mean? If
Right.
you want to go that path, that's on you. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day,
And
I'm
when
gonna
you're
keep pushing.
ready, we're going to be here. We're not going to push you to do it now, but when you're ready, there are programs and there are people like us. I mean, we're not everywhere, but I'm pretty sure we're not the only ones that are doing things like this. It's just that right now I'm starting this platform and we're comfortable enough to speak about it. So that's why you see us. But I'm sure there are several other people that feel the same way and have this same voice and that want to speak up and support different things in the community.
And we,
Christopher said, much love, bro. It's been nothing but a pleasure to stand by you. Hasta la muerte. Until death, right?
my brother,
What? It's still death. Yeah, see,
my,
hey, look.
you know
We
what it
see
is?
you, Chris. Look.
He just
But
had a
yes,
baby too, so he's over there dealing with a new baby.
yes,
Sheesh.
yes. Woo, all these little babies coming around here.
That's
Melissa
a big
says
one
she's
too.
proud of you, Chris.
Thank you. But yeah,
Yes,
that's hard too, dealing with so when I got home I had to deal with that, right? Like dealing with the new baby, and that shit fucking scared the shit out of me because not only was I trying to get me together and my kids together, but now I had a new baby that I basically and people fail to realize that look, our minds are wired different because of prison, right?
yes,
And it doesn't matter where you've been, county, level 4, level 3, the shoe, level 1, just the county itself broke me. You know what I mean? Getting butt naked in front of 100 or something people, telling me to squat and cough, and it breaks you as a person, and for them to like demoralize you and beat you and shit and do all this shit because they can or because they feel like they can, it's sad. But my journey and coming out and seeing people get hurt and just I'd seen some shit, right, and been through a lot of shit, and a lot of people that my homie, I don't know if my homie Knuckles is in here, but he was supposed to jump on, and he was with me too. So we shit, man, like we seen some shit, we've been through some shit. I still talk to a lot of dudes that are busted. They know what it is, so it's a trip coming home to be able to rewire your whole brain to feel emotion, to feel love, to feel this and that. And a lot of people fail to realize that they expect it, right? And it's not like that. It doesn't change overnight. I
yes,
woke up the first week waking out in my bed because I hear keys coming by. I get up thinking I have to hide my phone, or I feel like the officers are gonna run in my cell, and I'm in my room like fuck,
yeah,
and I was getting bad anxiety. People just need to understand that it's a lot. It's a lot to process, and you know what I mean. Just be patient. That's all it is. Patience, and
definitely.
and boundaries. Boundaries is huge, especially in relationships.
Ooh, We're gonna talk about that right now, but let's
Right
see. Vera
now.
said, "Look, Vera said, I'm glad that you made it through and keep going. Maybe you will run into people that you personally give them a personal testimony. So when you run into people, they might recognize you." She's saying, "Give them a personal testimony because they may need it."
We always do, man. Everywhere we go,
You,
we
I know you do. Yeah.
yeah, everywhere I go, man. I'm not a preacher, but shit, you give me your ear, you mean?
Talk it off.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop something in there. It ain't gonna be dope.
So
No.
I heard you talk about love and relationships. Don't nothing get past me. And that was something that you definitely put in the title as well and said that you wanted to talk about.
Oh
So
yeah.
first of all, yeah, don't say, "Oh God," don't yeah, get comfortable. Look. So first, self-love.
Yes. Self-love
I
is
want
huge.
you to touch a little bit about self-love because I know once again you shared with me that previously you didn't love yourself or you didn't know how to
Yeah.
love yourself.
So when I was a kid, I remember I wanted to kill myself a couple of times because of my situation at home, and I felt like, well, I didn't feel like it, but they made me feel like it. Well, my mom and everyone would tell me it was my fault. So yeah, of course, I felt like it was me, the reason why everything was happening, the reason why we went to foster homes and stuff like that. I hated myself for that, right? I hated myself because all my family was ripped away, taken, and I felt like it was me. Growing up, I always felt like it was me, my kids. I always felt like I'm the reason why they were without a mom for a while because she did get busted for a couple months. She was part of my case too. We took the deal in order for her to go home. So I disliked myself for a lot of reasons, right? For the shit I did in my past to people that really were just regular people that didn't really understand the street life, right? And they try to be a part of it, and they really, in the end of the day, they weren't really. Anywho, um,
Yeah.
we were going to that stories, but yeah. So I disliked myself for a lot of reasons, and then when I got home. Well, before I got home, I started understanding myself more when I was in the hole and stuff like that. I started like just meditating myself, you know what I mean, and understanding myself and who I am and what I have to offer as a person and what I want and what I don't want. And I never had a chance to do that. It was always like when you come out here, it's always let's go, let's go, let's go. You don't ever have time to kick back and understand you. And through my journey now, I've met a lot of amazing people. I have a couple of homegirls that they're homegirl Des. She's a therapist and she's fucking amazing. She helps me out a lot. My kids, you guys, like they make me understand me more, and just sit down and relax and understand yourself and enjoy your time and enjoy yourself, like going on hikes and just
Right.
I like my alone time. And everyone trips out because I'm like, man, I just want to watch a movie by myself. Like go over there, like because sometimes that's what you just need to decompress by yourself, and
Yeah.
a lot of relationships don't understand that, right? And they're like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Why are you pushing me away? It's not that. It's just I just want my alone. Or who are you talking to? What are you doing? It's like just relax. Just let me do me.
Well, just speaking as a woman, I know that we can be smothering sometimes.
Overbearing.
Yes, overbearing, overpowering, and I always tell you guys, and now the world's gonna hear it, but when men come home, sometimes they're a hot commodity. And I say that jokingly, but I'm also serious
Yeah.
because you guys have not been touched for X amount of years. You look good. Some of y'all be mouth be dripping when y'all get out. I'm telling y'all be looking good.
Or drooling
Like,
in the
so it's difficult for some women to control themselves, but this is something that's good for us to hear and for us to know and to be able to acknowledge. And I appreciate you saying that because they need to hear that.
Yeah.
They need to be patient. They need to be understanding. This is a time that is very important, and you guys are sensitive. You're coming out to this new environment. Like you said, you have your children. You might be dealing with trying to go to work and then still be on parole and trying to find housing or be in a transitional home or, whatever the case may be. So there's so much already going on. You don't need that extra stress.
Yeah.
It's
And
not going to help.
and I've always been very open, and I've always told people like when I came home, I was trying to enjoy myself, right? But I was scared because everything's new, like so it's computers, phones, people.
Right.
Like it's a trip, man. When I got home, people are all trying to record everything. I'm like, what the fuck is up with these people? Like everyone was trying to be famous and like they do
Right.
dumb shit. And that's a big thing too. Like people try to do things to get like views and clout and shit like that. Like you're gonna
Yes.
run into a motherfucker that just like I just like, you know what I mean? Like don't do that. I don't play that little kid games. You know what I mean? People don't
Mhm.
understand. They think it's funny, and then not only did they fuck the person's off, but they're fucking theirs off too. You know? So
Yeah, that's true.
be
But a
cautious.
lot of people don't think about it like that these
Don't, and they
days,
need to.
and that's why, once again, I wanted to make sure that you talked about these things because a lot of people don't know. They're not aware. And if you don't tell them, they'll never know because they're thinking like, oh, this is normal. Like you said, everybody's doing it. So they're not thinking anything of it. They're not thinking that you're going to be offended by it or that you may not want to be recorded or that you just got out and you don't want to be on video or you don't feel comfortable. They
Yeah.
don't know that or they don't care about that, but they should.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, so relationships, man, it's very complicated, super complicated because you as a person and the person that you're with might not know themselves in a sense, right? And they might just want so much from you, but that's not you. You don't have that to offer. So a lot of people get misunderstood and a lot of arguing starts. And me personally, I try to just do me, and I tell people I'll change when I feel like I need to change, but for the most part, I'm going to do me. I'm doing good. I'm not doing anything that I shouldn't be doing, you know?
right.
But boundaries is huge. I remember when I got home, I didn't set boundaries, and that was a big thing.
Yes.
I let it open, and it was a lot of bickering back and forth, not communicating because I didn't know how to communicate. In prison, you don't really communicate. It's just like, what? You got a problem? Okay, let's go. You know what I mean? And it's just,
Right.
that's what it is, you know? When you come out here, it's people just nagging at you and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, shut up. And then it triggers you and then you just want to walk off and then they want to get in front of you and start pushing you back. And you're just like, whoa, like this is a
Right.
lot. Like, and then you can fuck yours off again, you know? So it's a lot.
Exactly.
But boundaries is huge. Understanding what you want, what you don't want, understanding, you need time from each other because again, males and females want to, overwhelm each other because they're home, so they want to take a whole month off of work and just be around you all day long. It's like, wow, like it's cool, I appreciate it, but let me go over here for an hour. Let me go piss by myself, you know, like.
Marvinette said relationships are give and take. If you keep that in mind, they should flow evenly.
Exactly.
Okay. Josh said, love you, Chris. Love Bartholomew. And then Des said, boundaries are extremely important. You've grown so much in your ability to communicate. Keep it up. And definitely you have. You know, the fact that you even want to communicate. I know personally that you are very well versed in CBT. It's something that you are learning and you are growing in. Yeah. And you do amazing in when you teach the group. And with that, you know, you have to talk about, you know, attitude, values, and beliefs, and, you know, things changing and learning how to set those boundaries. And I think that comes along with being selfish because as children, we're taught that being selfish is not okay. You know, that we're not supposed to be selfish. We're supposed to share. We're supposed to be accommodating, you know, not difficult, go with the flow. But when you get out or when you're dealing with certain situations, it's okay to be selfish. You know, and I know you've heard me say that a lot of times. It's okay. And that's a part of setting those boundaries because you have to be selfish about your time. You have to be selfish about who you are and what you share. And you have to be okay with that. And they have to be okay with that and understand that it's because you're working on you.
Yeah.
And you have no malicious intent.
I remember too getting out and feeling like I have to please a lot of people, right? Like, or I have to be there and do this and do that, and that's why I came up with like, man, if you give me your time, I'm gonna give you my time. But if you're not giving me your time, you're not giving me any feedback in a sense. I can't. Like, there's too much energy taken from me, you know.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people coming out feel like they owe a lot, right? And they owe a lot to look out from the people that answer their phone call, and it's good. But at the same time, you're not really being you. You're being them in a sense, right? So it's scary because a lot of people come out and they feel like they owe people I respect a lot of people that helped me in my journey, and were there to bring my kids up to see me and visit me, and take their time in the day. And to them, I owe them my life, because I to this day I'm still really cool with my first Michaela and Isaiah's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Their tia, which is their mom's sister. She would
Mm-hmm.
always come up and bring my kids, and it was that takes a real person to, not your blood, but just come up
Yes,
and take them and enjoy that time with them, like it's good. But yeah, just to know that you're not obligated to give anyone your time. You give it to them because you want to give it to them, and you take from that.
definitely. That's a lovely message, and I hope whoever needed to hear that hears it. Last but not least, because we are wrapping it up, any other messages? Or hold on, before we wrap it up, I know Des has something. What are some things that us on the outside can do to help your reintegration into society with regard to boundaries and communication?
Hmm. Um, just anyone in general, or just me personally? I think
She's
anyone in
probably,
general.
I think she may be talking about just the reentry community, maybe, I think.
I think the best thing to do is let them tell you what it is. Like everyone's gonna have their boundaries. Everyone's gonna have their own. Everyone's different. You just gotta just go with
Oh,
what they
she
try to
said
do.
you or anyone. She put it down there too.
Yeah, just hear them out. Hear them out, because a lot of people are scared to lose people in their lives, right? Like, so they don't want to say the wrong thing and lose you. But everyone gets hints, like, if they're doing too much or overwhelming you at times, and just be honest too. And the people that are coming out, and let don't make them feel like they're scared to talk to you. Let them be um open, and tell you how they feel and what they want to feel, and don't ever bash them for it, and don't rub it in their face. Don't tell them, well, I do this for you and now you're gonna do this to me. Like, how you gonna leave me, or how you gonna people tend to get very back against the wall, right, when someone tells you something, and
Right,
oh, I'll take care of you, like a child. Like, you're just because you were taking care of me doesn't mean I'm your child. Let's
right.
communicate. Let me tell you what I like, and just because I tell you what I like and what I don't like doesn't mean that you have to get mad over it. And
But
a
those
lot of
are those controlling individuals. And once again, if you don't know better, you can't do better. So if you're engaging with people like that are going to hold everything over your head, because a lot of people do,
Yeah.
a lot of people do. They say that they won't, but they do.
Wait, without even
Um,
knowing that they do.
exactly. Yes. So that's something that you need to bring awareness to as well. Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Just speak up, set those boundaries, and tell them.
Yeah, and just let them know, like, hey, look, I don't like this, and don't expect what you say to come out their mouth, right? Like, not what you say, but like, don't expect if you ask them something for your answer to come out of their mouth, because it'll never happen, right?
Right.
That I think that's a big thing too, is people want that answer, like, say yes like this. If you don't say it like this, it doesn't
Yeah.
mean it. Like, no, like, everyone has their way of speaking, you know.
Vera said, so what I'm getting from this conversation is you have to work yourself into this freedom of life.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you have to work yourself into life basically when
Yeah,
you
all
became
over again, of course. And you women that are gonna be there for the ones that are coming out, and men, just try to let them be them. Let them enjoy life. Don't hover over them. Don't do the most unless they want you to. Unless they tell you, grab your hand and say, let's go. Don't make them feel uncomfortable. Don't make them feel weird because they do certain things. Like me, I still brush my teeth and spit in the toilet. My daughter started doing that. She's 2 years old. And I'm like, what are you doing? But there's certain
That's
things that
funny.
they do, and that we do. Just don't make us feel like we're weird for it. It's just something that we're programmed, and eventually either we get out of it or we stick with it, as long as it's not hurting no one or harming no one. There might be things that likes to eat a soup every now and then. Don't be like, oh, you're eating that. Don't make him feel weird. Don't make people feel weird, because that's
Right.
going to make them shut down and be like, you know what, I'm not going to do this because she's going to feel weird. And then just, you're not being you. You're not being yourself anymore.
Yeah. And I want you guys to remember, any behavior, it takes 30 days to make it. So if somebody has been in prison for 12 plus years, that means that they've been repetitively doing that same behavior for that amount of time. So it's going to take a long time for them to break that behavior as well. So like Chris said, be allow them to be themselves. Help them to feel comfortable. Marvinette said, Nino, how has life changed for you since you've been home?
Amazing. I mean, I mean, amazing because of my position now. You know, I met a lot of cool people. I've talked to certain people that Marvy hooked me up with. I just my work environment. I love it. Like I tell people, don't. Everyone that comes out, I tell them, don't do something that they're telling you to do. Do something you want to do. Right? If you
Yes,
could do it for free and you could volunteer your time and do it, that you wouldn't mind the pay, right? Like so, I love what I do. I get paid good. I enjoy my job. I enjoy my surroundings at job. Like my boss, Marvinette's amazing. Like she's never
yes.
overwhelming. She's not a regular boss at all. she's just
Right.
and she makes it easy. And people need to understand like you just make it easy, right? And I've enjoyed my life. I go out. I'm going to Texas next week to go see my family. I've been
Right.
to TJ. I've started traveling. I never really traveled anywhere. I never did anything when I was before I got busted. And now I'm enjoying myself. I got my house. I got my car. I got my kids more of the time. Me and my daughter have an amazing relationship. Me and my son are building our relationship. Me and my daughter, she's my little one. She's a handful and she's like a little Tarzan. She's a tornado in herself, but I'm starting to enjoy her now because before I was scared. I was super scared. I was super distant from her. I didn't want to touch her. I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't. I'd be honest. I just didn't want to do it. And now I'm starting to like every time I get home, I run to her and she hits me and beats me. But hey, we're starting from the bottom now. You
Those
know?
are love taps. Look,
Yeah.
those are love taps.
It's going to start really hurting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but my
Well,
journey is
I
amazing.
want to tell you thank you so much, first of all, for being vulnerable. There was something that you said in the beginning. I know, we got away and we were just talking, but you touched on previously when you were younger, you had some suicide attempts and things happen. I just want to say thank you for once again being vulnerable and sharing that with us. Number one. Um, Anybody who's dealing with that, it's definitely a struggle, first of all, to go through that, but also to even be able to share because a lot of people are embarrassed
Yeah.
when they go through situations like that to even say, like, I tried to commit suicide or, I felt this way or I was depressed. A lot of people are embarrassed to share those things. And so I really appreciate you just touching on those things. And I don't want it to go by without me acknowledging that, first of all. And I didn't want you or anyone else to feel like it was something that, we thought lightly of because it is something that's serious. And I did hear you. So I wanted to say that. Secondly, I just want to tell you you're amazing. You are great. You're worthy.
Can't use my
You're you're a damn good dad, a person, and your transition and your growth. Um, if nobody else sees it, I do. I know a lot of other people see it, but I just want to acknowledge that because you are great. You're doing great things and you're on your way, and it's only up from here, and I'm big on affirmations and making sure you know how amazing you are because that's your word as well. So you are amazing. Nair just said thank you for the insight. Definitely, it's always good to hear from a male point of view
yeah.
because I am, a woman. So things are only gonna, I can't speak for a man, but what Marvinette said, ghetto baby. That's right, ghetto babies. Because we both are ghetto babies.
Yes, you guys are.
Yeah, like what you too. I'm talking about me and you, not
Oh no,
her.
I think it's about you already.
Nina said we can't wait to see you guys. Is that your family in Texas?
Yeah, one of my tias.
Okay, yes. So she said she can't wait to see you. Once again, I just want to thank you, thank you, thank you. You're on your way up. I know you're going to do amazing things. You have your clothing line that's out. I think
Oh yeah,
that's one of the
oh
shirts that you're wearing. So let's see your shirt. Hood raised. That was another reason he wanted to make that his title. If
yeah,
you guys are interested in contacting Chris, want any information either about the clothing line, about what he talked about tonight, just any insight, you guys can hit him up at his Instagram account. It's HRLS_clothing_CO
These
at
are my kids.
Instagram.com. Huh?
These
You
are my
got
kids.
something
You want
else?
to say hi.
Hey, hi. How you doing, you guys? We were going to have you on the show, but I heard you guys were nervous.
I'm scared.
Yeah, it's okay though. Maybe next time, because we definitely need to have a part 2 to see what you doing next. Oh, Marvinette said, "Oh, she talking about Ella, ghetto
Oh,
baby."
yeah,
Oh,
she's asleep, thank God.
I thought you was talking about
Melatonin
us,
helps.
Marvinette. What'd you say, Chris? I'm sorry.
Melatonin helps.
No, I know. She is amazing. Ella, don't be talking about Ella.
She's amazing. She has her own personality. I love it, but I'm like, damn, like just give me a minute.
She's gonna be just like you, but you'll be able to give back right now.
Yeah.
But thank you, Chris. I want to thank you for being on the show. Hopefully you'll be back for part 2 and we can talk about
This
your
was my first time,
nonprofit
so
and
I'm
all
sorry if
that.
I was everywhere.
No, it's okay. You did amazing. Like I said, this is not, we on here real raw and uncut, just like your title said. This is for the everyday person. This is not something that is rehearsed. This is not anything that, everybody's going to be able to relate to, but the people that will be able to relate to this, those are the individuals we want to touch. You know what did Des say? Thanks for creating this space. This was awesome. No, thank you. Thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you for following. Chris, like I said, we're going to have you back for part 2. Let me let you go and I'm going to wrap everything up. So thank you so much. I'll see you later. Oh, sorry, y'all. I done cut them off. Y'all know I'm new to this, but I'm also true to this. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. The show was definitely amazing. I want to make sure if you guys, once again, are struggling with anything as far as suicide, since we did bring that up tonight, that you do have resources to reach out. So the suicide helpline that you guys can reach out to is 800-273-8255. It's never a dumb question. You can't call too much. If you need this help, if you want somebody to listen, if you need somebody to listen, call this number. If you need any type of mental health support, you can also call the Los Angeles Department of Mental Health. I know I'm in the Los Angeles area, so that's why I have this information. But that number is 800-854-7771. We want to make sure that you guys have all these resources. I want to make sure that you guys have my information as well. So if you are interested in following me, make sure that you hit up my YouTube page, She Who Found Her Purpose. Oh, this is my Gmail. Look at me, my Gmail. And this is actually if you have a story that you want to get out there. So sorry, you guys. If you have a story that you want to talk about, that you want to get out there, that you want to hear about, go ahead and hit me up on shewhofoundherpurpose@gmail.com. So if there's something that you want to talk about, if you want to be on a show, if you want to hear somebody else talk about something, put it in my inbox there. Also, once again, you can hit me up on my YouTube or follow me on my YouTube. It's also She Who Found Her Purpose Spaces on YouTube. So I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. Thank you, Marvinette. Woo, I was sweating, show number 2, but we getting them in, y'all. We knocking them out. Join me next week. I have another amazing show, another amazing guest. We're going to try to lighten it up a little bit because I know my first 2 shows were kind of heavy, a lot of emotion. So we're going to make sure we keep it light. You're welcome, Chris. Thank you for coming. Thank you for allowing us to share your brother because he is amazing. Maybe we can have you on the show with him for show number 2. But I want to thank you guys. I'll see you guys next week. I appreciate you guys. And thank you for following She Who Found Her Purpose. Bye.